Smear campaigns are one of the narcissist's most insidious but effective means to control others so they can maintain their delusional world. And because narcissists think in a binary or black and white mentality, there is no middle ground or shades of gray. They have to be better, smarter, stronger, and win at everything. Because if they are not winning, then they are losing, period. Making everything that they do intentional and driven by the motivational force of keeping this fictitious image of themselves alive. And how they use smear campaigns to help them do this. It allows them to have the upper hand in controlling the narrative of the story if and when you ever were to come forward with your truth. As they have learned from trial and error, the person who gets in front of the story first, more often than not, will in fact control the narrative, making it harder for you to be able to prove your truth, on top of our human tendency for us to stick to the information that we originally have or first received. 2, it is their full intention to deliberately try to turn people against you by means of triangulation and isolation that will either 1, recognize that something is off with you, try to warn you about the narcissist and get you to leave them, and or eliminate you from having any form of outside support down the road after they have successfully sucked the life from your being and no longer are in touch with who you even are. Like a little twisted game of expose or be exposed, trying to beat you to the punch that will put your credibility on the chopping block, but 2, makes their role playing the victim far more believable to anyone that you may try to expose the abuse that you've endured by starting your smear campaign long before they even have but 1 iota of concern about you trying to go forward, allowing for themselves to have plenty of time to distort your reality, collect the proof they need to back up their carefully crafted and well-calculated smear campaign through your demonstrations of reactive abuse that they intentionally provoke you to respond in heightened levels of distress, just so they can then use these very reactions that they provoked from you against you to show others just how batshit crazy you truly are, as well as to gaslight you to buy in to this notion as well. And as a extra little bonus snack, they know that it is going to only further cause you more suffering by not just being fundamentally betrayed by them, but feeling betrayed by the people you believed, cared, loved, and knew you better than to buy in to this bullshit that they're selling, strumming up more self-doubt and confusion in you, as now it's no longer just a matter of your story against theirs. And by not having any valid explanation or way to logically and reasonably make sense of what in the fuck is going on here, only makes it easier for them to gaslight you to buy into this notion are truly the one responsible for all the issues within the relationship that they have projected and blame shifted the fault onto you for, lead to most of us falling right into the very traps that these smear campaigns were strategically designed for you to fall into. By 1, trying to defend yourself, as nobody likes being lied on. Doing so under the mode of being in emotional distress only lead you to looking as batshit crazy as they've set you up to look. 2, in trying to defend yourself to the narcissist, in turn giving them access and providing them with the information that you have to verify that they are in fact lying, making it easier for them to know exactly what they go about covering up next, and or get their sleazy hands on in efforts to get rid of so that your proof will no longer exist. And lastly, get you to a point that you can't take anymore and eventually give up even trying to defend yourself against these verifiable lies and begin to self-isolate, because narcissists are masters of creating situations where you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Essentially getting you to feel like you are stuck in a corner with no way out. Like in this instance, with the smear campaign, your little tidbit of supply in the grand scheme of things doesn't exactly mean a whole lot. As long as they can maintain how the rest of the world sees them, as their reputation is more built off of a foundation of the surrounded public's perception than any one person in terms of source of supply. Which is why when they can't control you, then they go about and try to control how others feel about you in efforts to discredit any of the truth that you come forward with. So now you're left in a spot where this, by default, enabling them to get away with others seeing them as this false perception. But two, prevents you to fully be able to heal, holding on to the resentment as this anger from within begins to eat at you due to the injustice that you were served, causing us to sometimes suffer more when we keep quiet. So then, what do? Well, the best way to go about these smear campaigns, take a step back for a moment to the point where you're able to separate the emotional distress and personal factor from it, because there truly is absolutely nothing personal about it, just a bunch of made up bullshit. Two, do not try to defend yourself at all to the narcissist. Only provides them some sort of information that they will then be able to continue to use against you, as well as discredit or remove any of the proof that you may have on them. You have to face them in court. And three, remind yourself that they can go ahead and play God all they want by trying to rewrite history or gaslight you into believing that something did or didn't happen, and tell all the lies that they want to others. But just because they play God and tell lies about you does not make them true, nor does it make their delusional world any realer. Because here's the thing with narcissists, what makes them so good at getting people to buy into their bullshit is due to their impeccable ability to match and mirror others, making it seem like they've got some form of a connection. Know exactly what to say to make it come off as though having them in one's life will bring some sort of value or meaning to the table, shape-shifting and changing themselves to become whoever it is in front of them at that very moment, which can work for a while and works well with sources of supply they're going to feed off of long term. It's through their love bombing and putting in their due diligence, slowly chipping away at your confidence, your self-esteem, perception of reality to a confusional oblivion. But to where lies the difference with others? Unlike narcissists, we use logic and reason to help figure things out. And for someone who can talk all of this shit and that shit, their words don't exactly go tit for tat with their actions, as narcissists do not have an ounce of integrity or a speck of authenticity in any of the rubbish that comes out of the bullshit flapper on their face. Nor do they have any sort of filter on the degree of outlandishness that they will take phony narratives to, and it's only but a matter of time. Others will be able to pick up on this because they will never change. They will never stop. Their lies will continue and carry on and further get more outlandish. And though you should not defend yourself as one, there is no need to, because none of it is true. But not defending yourself and not being true to yourself are not the same thing, and should not let this prevent you from telling your story and speaking your truth, and get that shit off of your chest and out of you, to not let yourself be consumed by the limited beliefs and the worry about what others think. And now more than ever, dig deep and remember who you are. Using the support of others who have too experienced this is a game changer for you in efforts to rebuild that sense of self and connect with not only others, but with you. Believing that we are capable comes from within, believing that it's possible. And one of the best ways to see that something is possible is through knowing that someone else has already achieved such, which you can't do being trapped in a box or sucked in to the vacuum of isolation. But by telling your story, or by hearing the stories that other survivors tell and being able to resonate with their experiences, gives you a sense of connection. And this sense of connection enhances the energy of both, as well as eliminates the self-doubt that you had in thinking that you were the batshit crazy one, or perhaps you were making it all up in your head. And by recognizing just how powerful and potent this can be, and drives you to want to then extend your hand and help advocate for others who too are dealing with the same issues that you have been through. And with numbers comes a sense of unity. Because narcissists can hush the voice of an individual source of supply, but they cannot hush the whisper of a crowd. Tell your story and let your truth be the light that guides you out of this darkness and the corner that they try to trap you in with their insidious smear campaigns, because nobody deserves what these demonic creatures dole out. And once you know this and you believe in this, then the one falling into the trap is going to be themselves and not you. So focus on you. Fuck the narcissist.